To no one's surprise, Steam is doing good, and hopefully they will keep doing good. Listen, Gabe deserves 2 or 3 multi-million-dollar yachts if he wants, okay? He has earned it. And also, a couple of lawsuits that were levied against Steam have been absolutely destroyed pretty much at this point, which means Steam is safe. Oh man, what a great time to be alive, boys. Steam is the best thing ever.
Well, I'll start with a number. Just under 42 million people were playing Steam at the same time this year. That's a concurrency record. It's absolutely huge. And it's going to be important because they've also set the tech world alight by releasing SteamOS, kind of redefining what gaming on PC can mean. And the funny thing is that, yes, well, there is the likes of the ROG Ally Xbox Edition on, say, the Lenovo Legion Go, where there is a Steam version of that. Well, SteamOS beats Windows, and even on a ROG Ally, you'll get better gaming performance out of SteamOS if you put it on there yourself than you will from any form of official Microsoft experience. And then there's everything else that they're planning. But also, there's just selling games. Steam has given smaller devs space to succeed in a way that we are only beginning to get used to. The likes of Peak, Megabonk, and a whole bunch of other games have become truly mega viral. I mean, hell, we've also found that with all this going on, game prices have actually been trending down on Steam. And yet, even though all that good stuff is happening,
have game prices actually been trending down on Steam, or is it the fact that people buy games when they're on discount? Because I personally know people who are like, oh, I want this game. Oh, but I'll wait until discount. Yes, it's that simple. People have massive back catalogs of games. People have things that they can replay. Again, literally Fallout New Vegas. You can replay that a lot, okay? It is what it is. And every single time I will choose the exact same things I chose the last time. Because at least I may not be the smartest man ever. Oh, but I am hella consistent in some strange way. And yes, so most people can easily just afford to wait until a 90% discount. Good luck, Borderlands 4. Good luck, Gearbox.
happened, Valve have spent their year under fire from all sides. As 2024 ended, Valve were under more pressure than ever before. You see, they'd been so spooked by incoming class action lawsuits that they changed their entire user agreement to remove their arbitration clauses. Basically, they were getting ready for a big legal fight. Now, that itself followed changes to the store, reinforcing that you're only buying licenses to play games on Steam, that you're not buying the games themselves.
Some people were shocked that this was the case. This has been the case always, by the way. I mean, we just honestly think that Steam will be forever. As long as Gabe exists forever. Okay, can we... Listen, I know the Illuminati is trying to make eternal life and all of that garbage, but can we please give it to Gabe first and me second? Okay, that seems like a good deal.
It now overtly says that at checkout. Players in many cases knew that, but it was at the back of their head, and they were not thrilled to be reminded of it.
True.
And it's fair to say that 2025 kept up this brand of pressure on Valve. The year began with a brutal CoffeeZilla expose that reached millions of people, overtly calling out Valve's continued profiting from skin gambling. They, of course, still maintain a loot box empire in CS2 and TF2. And throughout the year, we've...
True. Okay, listen, I don't care how many casinos Gabe owns. It's fine.
seen new heights for that empire as they introduced $1,500 regulation-dodging loot box mechanics for CS2 before then overhauling trade restrictions in a way that wiped billions from players.
Absolutely based. This was one of my favorite things ever. Absolutely based. Some people, by the way, got extremely rich off of this, which is funny.
Their inventories overnight. Crazy stuff. But then came criticism of Steam systems themselves. Valve tried to limit the impact of region-specific review bombs by siloing off traditionally harsher Chinese and Russian reviews from Western audiences unless they opted in. Then there was the first Next Fest of the year, which saw accusations of AI slop-powered games flooding the platform, but...
Okay, since it's that time, listen. Dota could be such a great game if the Russians were just never allowed to play outside of their own server. It would be so amazing. I'm not gonna lie, that's the solution. Okay? League of Legends can be overcome extremely simply, and that's just called. Dude, League of Legends did this, by the way. They did this. They made them play in their own server pretty much forcefully. And it worked amazingly.
Analysis actually revealed that almost all of them ended up being buried amongst the thousands of games on Steam every year that never reach the full audience. Because, after a few days of Next Fest slop being visible, well, Valve's algorithm had solved the problem before many people even noticed it had been there in the first place. Now, even for real games, things weren't exactly safe. 11-bit Studios' The Alters launched with generative AI content in the game, and to date there's still been no disclosure on the Steam page, so it seems that Valve haven't exactly enforced their own rules when, well, they've been broken, as they have been with this game. And we'll come back to that vibe-based rule enforcement later on, because it's been getting them in trouble. And that does actually matter because of people's monopoly concerns. So Valve should take it seriously.
This is one of the things. I mentioned this at the start because I have not been covering on videos, but I have been actually, I have been checking what's happening with Valve, and the monopoly shit is not going to work. Because one of the biggest crucial things that's currently is happening is the fact that Valve, while its market share years ago was literally non-existent in the world, where they would literally be below GameStop and GameStop looked at them and spat from high above. They had the same rules, the same pricing structure, the same everything back then when they were in the monopoly, and now they maintain the same rules when they are a monopoly. Which means they are not abusing their monopoly status, which means they're immune from it, technically. Now, granted, this needs to be corroborated, confirmed, and kind of fighted over. Maybe someone finds a loophole around that. But that's a pretty strong defense currently. It's the fact that their rules have not changed since they began when they weren't considered a monopoly.
Now, Steam's position was also manipulated in a few more troubling ways. Take this.
And also, as a gamer, I understand Steam is the big dog. I wouldn't call it a monopoly. Because Steam doesn't force me to use Steam. Steam is just the best place for me to do a lot of things. I would maybe use another service. Honestly, you know what? I think Steam is getting a lot of bad rep about being a monopoly because of garbage dumpster fires like Bethesda and Blizzard. Bethesda had their own launcher. Ubisoft, I think Ubisoft still has their own launcher. Yeah, they still have Ubisoft launcher. Blizzard Entertainment has their own launcher. And no one wants to use their launchers because they're filled with ads. They're filled with garbage. They are not user friendly. They are annoying, and they don't function. So a lot of the oh no, everyone needs to go to Steam is because the competition just makes some pile of garbage and then they're surprised. Wow, they gamers don't want to eat our slop. How is this possible? We did the bare minimum. Why aren't we beating Steam? Like, anyone remember the fact that Amazon Games was in a brutal war by their own words against Steam? Yeah, nobody even knew that because they didn't even make a single game except New World. Like, what do you even mean? Like, there's so many companies just kind of glorifying Steam on pure accident by just being incompetent. Oh, we're gonna fight Steam. We're gonna take on the good guys. Said the literal multi-trillion company that's backed by Amazon. Oh, my hero. Wow, you're so brave. And then they do nothing right, and then they fail, and it's insane. It's just incompetence at this point.
This one, a war propaganda game from a Russian government-backed developer, forced some rather hard questions about Valve's responsibilities as a platform. Questions that would recur throughout the year and likely will recur next year. And more explicit threats emerged as well. Multiple instances occurred of malware being distributed through Steam, where basically developers were loading approved games or store pages with malicious code and then threatening the safety of users. Each time, Valve did address the problem swiftly, but in one case, the attacker stole 32 grand in crypto from a cancer patient who was raising money for treatment. That's a lot of stories, some of them rough.
That story, I remember it. That story was as stupid as it comes.
But then came the big controversy. This controversy revealed that Valve simply does not control Steam. So, who is your impossible to shop for person? I know you have one.
No one cares.
Changed the rules for shipping games in Steam this year, and basically in doing so, they had to cede creative.
Dude, if Valve, by the way, if Valve is a monopoly, then what the hell does it say about the fact that two companies can literally just bully this monopoly into doing whatever the fuck they feel like? That is the best. Dude, if Valve is a monopoly, then payment processors are the literal mafia. In fact, they kinda are at this point in most people's eyes.
Control of what was on their platform. And that's because without payment processors there to handle the transactions, there kind of is no platform. So because of this, we got Rule 15. Here it is. Content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers, in particular certain...
By the way, this rule, no one has talked about this, but this rule is actually pretty smart. Because effectively, they make it so that it is known that payment processors can force Valve. So if something gets removed and some government gets mad, Valve can literally say, it's the payment processors. They forced us to do this, or they would shut down our company. So don't be mad at us. Here's a bunch of activists for you to be mad at. And then the activists in the first place who are mad are going to be, but we can't attack our own activists.
Kinds of adult-only content. Yes, this was basically Valve saying, we have to enforce everyone else's policies on our store. We don't have creative control, and that leads to the depressing reality of MasterCard deciding what is or is not a valid piece of art. Now, because of this change, Valve delisted many adult...
Oh, come on, you should have actually told their criteria that MasterCard is literally the only entity in the world that gets to choose what counts as art and what doesn't.
Games, they retroactively forced compliance. This was a shock to many, and while it hit smaller stores like itch.io harder, the fact that a company as wealthy and as powerful as Valve could not fight for creative freedom here, well, that just goddamn stung. And then in the wake of this news, things got even worse, even more challenging, because we in the UK are having to deal with a whole new problem, as Valve have been forced to comply with the Online Safety Act. That limits what we can access without...
Listen, I'm not gonna lie, if you're gonna yap about the, oh no, UK is falling, I don't care. The UK deserves all that it's getting. Like, their literal elected government officials have blatantly said, yeah, we don't actually care what the people who elected us want, we're just gonna do whatever the hell we feel like. Deal with it. And the people in the UK are like, hogwash. And that's it. So I have absolutely not the slightest bit of pity for anyone British that's getting affected by this. You kind of literally asked for this.
Linking a credit card to our account. And it's not just us. Similar things are happening in Australia, in Texas, in many states actually in America. This kind of thing isn't ideal in the best of times, but when we actually
that kind of implied the way that he said it, that Australia is a part of America, which is slightly questionable, but okay.
Tested Valve system, we found it was full of holes and workarounds.
Turns out the 51st state was not going to be Canada, it's going to be Australia.
That, at least by our judgment, do break the letter of the law in the UK. I don't want Valve to get in a big bunch of trouble for that, but let's be real, they probably do want to be compliant. But then, just before the end of the year, we discovered that even before they ceded control to the payment processors, Valve's own systems may have killed far more games than we know about. Remember how I talked about the rules being vibes-based? Well, there's one where it really hurt. It's the story of Santa Ragione's horror game Horses that went viral.
Oh god, I don't want to talk about the horse thing. Oh, I hate it so much. I actually did a video, but then I didn't upload it about this. I'll give you a quick summary of horses in case you don't know what it is. If you if your message is so poor, so stupid, so on the nose that you need to portray it in the way that horses does to get it across, you're just stupid. You're bad at portraying your own message. And that's already a message that everyone agrees with, everyone understands, and everyone knows. This is not art. You are not doing something special. You're literally bad at your job. That's my opinion on horses.
Viral as Valve refused to allow sale of the game. It's an
Up. I'm skipping this, Bellier. I hate you.
are big, they're honestly exciting. So, we've talked legal pressure, gambling scandals, platform manipulation, payment processor capitulation, and questions of artistic censorship. You'd think with all that going on that our boys at Valve would be on the back foot. That is not the case.
Based.
Gabe has an awesome new yacht called the Leviathan, kind of awesome,
Based.
and more importantly for the company, their attention throughout the year has been fixed on one project, SteamOS and Steam machines. And this is where I need to go back to the Lenovo Legion Go S that I mentioned earlier. It was announced back in February and it set the stage for all of this. With SteamOS being available on it, it officially marked SteamOS on third-party platforms. And it proved something goddamn important, that a dedicated bespoke OS designed for gaming could outperform a general Windows handheld playing the exact same game.
Well, of course it can. Windows is garbage. Everyone hates Windows. Everyone literally wishes we could just go back to the days of Windows XP. Every single person is pretty much like that. Windows 11, or whichever was that dumpster fire, 10? Or whatever, was literally designed by a By the way, this is the official story. I'm not making this up. You can Google this. It's hilarious. But this is the short summary. The worst Windows operating system that has ever been made, like experience-wise, user relatability-wise, everything, was designed by a literal diversity, equity, inclusion hire, a woman who had, get this, never once in her life used a computer. And she was 40 or something. And she then designed the worst operating system ever. Like, Windows is literally just sitting there begging to be replaced by someone because it's just garbage in every way possible. The Windows operating system is fucking shit. Like, how many of you wish that you could go back to the old days of the add and remove programs list? Of the control panel or whatever it was called, where you could, see a little bit deeper into the settings of things. Everyone does. Everyone does. Because it's annoying. This, what we currently have, is bad. So, literally, and also, anything that uses AI is just annoying and stupid. Like, Google is... the Google search engine is begging to be replaced because the first thing it shows you is AI summaries of things that you don't care about. Microsoft is doing literally everything to become a billion-dollar company from a trillion-dollar company. Okay? And if Steam does it, that's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. Because there was this one thing that I heard someone say, this was in my old video about the Valve's The Gabe box, the Gabe Cube, Steam Cube, whatever it's called, the gaming thing. And it was the fact that maybe these machines are gonna be cheaper than actually buying a real computer in the office, but they are gonna be able to do the same things. Which would mean that Windows would get replaced by SteamOS. And the funny part was someone said that, oh no, Valve would never want this. Valve would literally not want the fact that the Steam operating system completely replaced Microsoft. Yes, they would never want that. They would not want the biggest monopoly in human history to fucking happen. Surely not.
So for enthusiasts sick of dealing with Windows foibles, and my god, there have only been more Windows foibles as time has went on this year.
I have no idea what's a foible, by the way. Anyway, that was Billion News 10 out of 10. Bye!